My name is Lok, and I'm your presenter for today's topic, Pattern to Profit webinar series. Today we are going to talk about Microsoft patent strategy. Okay, so let me just hide. Okay. Okay, a little bit about myself. I think Jai has introduced me. I'm a patent lawyer by profession. I've been in practice for more than 20 years, actively involved in patent protection and monetization work in Southeast Asia. So today I'm going to talk about more on the strategy side, how companies, highly successful companies use their patent in their business strategy, and we'll be covering Microsoft today. Okay, talking about Microsoft, I think everybody uses Microsoft Windows operating system and also their Microsoft Office suite in our day-to-day life. These two are arguably two of the most successful IP works in the history of mankind, used by millions of users. Intellectual property is the most important assets owned by Microsoft. Today, we are going to focus more on the patent side, how Microsoft uses patent to protect its market share and its profit and generate trillions of value for its stakeholder. A little bit of background of Microsoft. It was founded in 1975 by Paul Allen and Bill Gates. The current CEO is Satya Nadella. It is a public listed company. In year 2018, the market cap reached $770 billion with an annual revenue of 114 billion. Yeah, but that was the figure in 2018. As of April 2024, Microsoft market cap has reached the $3 trillion mark, right? It's the world's largest company by market cap. So today, we want to see how Microsoft, managed to use intellectual property, patent rights to become the world's most valuable company. I think if you look at the chart in the last 1 year, the share price of Microsoft has surged a lot, mainly because of artificial intelligence, the hype over artificial intelligence, and Microsoft is linked to OpenAI. And today, I think our focus will be looking at some of the patents filed by Microsoft relating to artificial intelligence. So we'll be looking at about some of the Microsoft patents on AI. To see how Microsoft has successfully grown, right, from a relatively young company to become the world's largest company. I think we can look back on some of the historical milestones achieved by Microsoft. Microsoft was started in 1995 by Bill Gates and Paul Allen to provide programming software, basic software for the first personal computer, which was introduced by Attire. Right at that time, software was more for hobbies, computer hobbies, and because the software is something that you can reproduce easily and you can distribute easily, people take it for granted. They don't pay royalties for the use of software. So Bill Gates saw that the free distribution amounted to theft, right? So he wrote an open letter to the computer hobbies, and he said that there must be some royalty paid for the software. And with the help of his father, who was a successful Silicon Valley lawyer, so he started the software licensing model. So Microsoft was the first to make people pay for software licensing, right? So this is the business model created. Software licensing was actually created by Microsoft. And the big break for Microsoft came when at that time PC was something new. IBM wanted to enter the PC market. So IBM needed an operating system. So the two founders made their move. They approached IBM and they promised to license to create a operating system for IBM. At that time, they don't have an operating system, so they signed a contract with IBM and bought the MS-DOS from another company, another software company for 75,000, and licensed it to IBM for 430,000. Right, that was the first bucket of gold for Microsoft. And when IBM demanded for exclusivity for this MS-DOS, Microsoft rejected that, and IBM relented because IBM was caught up in antitrust litigation at that time. So IBM was willing to let Microsoft have the non-exclusive deal. So using that MS-DOS software, Microsoft started to license the software to other PC makers. So Microsoft kept the core, yeah, but licensed the software to PC makers. So Microsoft kept, yeah, but Microsoft kept the core, but it allows all the PC makers to have certain variable in terms of features and functionalities. Yeah, so by keeping the operating system open, right, it was able to reach out to a wide customer base compared to Apple. Apple only limited itself to its own device, but Microsoft was licensed to all. Then eventually, Microsoft changed the business model from a B2B business model to a B2C business model by selling their software directly to the end consumer. So Microsoft launched the Microsoft Office Suite in 1988 and also the Windows 3.0 in 1990. And all these software become hugely successful and dominated 90% of the world market, right? 90% of the computers in the early 90s runs on Microsoft operating system. And in 2011, Microsoft went to the cloud by releasing the Office 365. And this was also a very successful software for Microsoft. And all Microsoft generated all the revenue from licensing of the IPs, of the copyright, and also some of the patented features. And eventually, when the smartphone and the mobile computing take over, and Android become the dominant operating system for computing devices, Microsoft moved away from the Windows or nothing mindset, because initially they relied heavily on Windows to make their revenue. But eventually, when the Android came in, they had to move on. They changed their business model. They open up their software to other devices and other platforms, to Android, to Linux, to Chromebook. So this is the first change they make from Windows to another focus. And Microsoft also moved into the cloud computing with Azure, Windows Azure, to provide computing architecture in the cloud and provide to the user who wants to host their system or their solutions online. And to help them compete, right, Microsoft launched the Azure IP Advantage to attract consumer to the cloud solution. So anybody who hosted their website or their system or their engine on the Azure platform, they will be able to get license from all the patents taught by Microsoft. So we will look into it later. And when AI came along, Microsoft set up a strategic alliance with OpenAI and start to integrate IP across its product suite. So you can see that Microsoft is always changing with time, changing with technology, and using this AI, Microsoft not only enhance its productivity suite, but it's also starting to challenge Google search hegemony by coming up with all the AI-assisted feature in the search. So if you look at the breakdown of Microsoft, right? Microsoft has a revenue breakdown. Its revenue come from three main sections: productivity section, cloud section, and personal computing section. Each of these section contributed about 1/3 of the revenue. So it's a very balanced company. It serves a broad base of market with a broad base of products and services. So coming into, we would like to explore now, right? What is a strategy of, what is a generic competitive strategy of Microsoft? When we look at the generic competitive strategy of company, we would like to refer to Professor Porter's model. So according to Professor Porter, for a company to be, competitive, we have to look at three things, right? Either a company should stay as a cost leader with no fear, or you become a differentiator that you sell uniquely desirable product or services, right? You either be a cost leader or a differentiator, and you need to determine which market you want to focus in, right? In the case of Microsoft strategy is that of a broad differentiator. So Microsoft comes up with a lot of products which are unique in terms of features, and all these unique features are protected by IP in the form of copyright, in the form of patents, and they target various market segments from office to household to big organizations, right? So these are the broad differentiators strategy adopted by Microsoft. So you might be wondering, right? How can a company be a broad differentiator to different segments of market? You must have a strategy to deliver that. So in the case of Microsoft, what Microsoft does is it come up with a unique strategy. It is a very unique IP management strategy that enable them to come up with different products for different markets in a very short time, right? So what happened in the case of Microsoft is in the early days, Microsoft were developing a programming platform. Rather than standalone application, it built platform for all the programmer to do programming using their platform. So during those days, Microsoft feel that, okay, why you reinvent the wheel? Why do we need to invent the wheel? So if someone have created a component, a programming component, right? So why not you keep those components in the library? So those commonly used functions or features, you can reuse it, right? And in order to plug and play, what you need is on all those components, you have predefined interfaces. If someone has created a component, a programming component, right? So what you need to have is for those components, you have a predefined interfaces, and you can plug and play those components and piece them together into another new function. So with that, what Microsoft did was it came up with a programming architecture framework. And with this, if anyone were to develop any software and within the Microsoft ecosystem, you have to follow that programming framework, programming architecture, and all these components will be able to interact with each other with the pre-existing software component. So the strategy of software componentization enabled Microsoft to leverage its intellectual property across different applications, across different product line. So that explains why when Microsoft come into when the world enter into a new phase of AI, when the world move into cloud, Microsoft was able to adapt its offering to meet or to adapt to the new technological trend. So this is the key advantage. These are the competitive advantage of Microsoft for it to serve a broad-based market with broad differentiation. What they have is a knowledge base, a library of software components protected by patents and copyright. And you have all this new knowledge can be codified and can be integrated into this knowledge base by ensuring that those knowledge base, those components are compatible with the existing component. And you have the established process to evolve this knowledge base to meet the changes in the broader technological content. We have seen this in the early 90s when the world moved into the networking environment. Microsoft was able to adapt its offering to work in the networking environment. In the late 1990s, when you have the World Wide Web, so Microsoft again can adapt its software very quickly, re-architect it to meet the web demand of the web solution and the cloud computing, and now to the AI to stay relevant, right? So this is a very important competitive advantage that Microsoft has. It has a huge library. It can be recycled, it can be reused, plug and play into new application. So intellectual property more, right? Popularized by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett defined economic more as something that enable a company to have sustainable competitive advantage that allows a company to generate the profit for the future, for a foreseeable future, right? Not like one-time profit, but you can continue to make profit. In the case of Microsoft, what is the economic mode? It has libraries of software components. It has which are well protected by intellectual property, by patents, by copyright, and using that you are able to compete, right? So before I go into pattern, I would like to do a brief introduction to IP. When we talk about IP, right, there are many types of IP, right? You have patents that protects new functions. You have copyright that protects the expressions of ideas. You have trademarks that protects the brand. You have design that protects the shape or the outlook, and trade secrets that protects all the proprietary information not known to the public, right? So today our focus will be more on the patent side. And all these IPs are intangible asset. For Microsoft, I think more than 90% of its value come from those intellectual properties. And it gives the owner of the copyright, it needs the owner of the IP rights monopoly over the ideas. And this is why IP is valuable, because if you come up with a new idea and you own it with an protect it with an IP, then no one can use it without your consent. No one can commercially deal with it. IP is limited by jurisdiction and limited by time, right? For the case of patent, it lasts for 20 years, and you have to file in different countries where you want to own the patent or the ideas. Okay, so ideas can be protected by different types of IP. Any innovation that you create, you can protect it by patent. Any creative expressions that you have, you can protect by copyright. Any brands that you have, you can protect by design. And what are the basic function of IP? Basically, two basic functions. One is a barrier of entry. So if you come up with something new, you want to make sure people don't come in. You want an economic mode to protect your idea. And this barrier of entry can be provided by a good IP protection. And secondly is freedom to operate. If you are able to do freedom to operate means it's a flip side of a barrier to entry. If you have someone has a barrier to entry, then you don't have freedom to operate in the space that is protected. So IP is important because if you have something and you create a barrier to entry, then you take away freedom to operate to your competitors. And if you were to step into your territory, copying your ideas, then you can take action to stop them. Yeah. So these are the two basic functions of patents. And the importance of intangible assets. IP is a very important asset. And as you can see from the chart here, as of 2018, more than 80% of Fortune 500 companies comes from intangible assets, like your patents, like your copyright, like your database. And 5 of the most valuable companies Microsoft now is the most highly valued company now. More than 90% of their value comes from intangible assets. So this is the statistic done in year 2019. Microsoft is the company that has the most in terms of value in terms of intangible assets. Okay, so now we come into patent, right? Patent, which is the topic for today. We would like to look at the Microsoft patent strategy. So first of all, I would like to share with you the patent portfolio of Microsoft worldwide. As of 24, Microsoft has about 77,000 patents application or granted patents around the world, and out of which 52,000 patents are the active patents. Many of the patents, all these 77,000 patents, they can be broken down to software patents and non-software patents, and also design patents. And if you look at the percentages, majority of the patents filed by Microsoft are relating to software patents. And of course, they also have the design patents. For software companies, industrial design or design patents can be used to protect the graphical user interface. So design patent is also important for Microsoft. And non-software patents relates to the hardware that Microsoft has developed over the years, like the gaming solution box, Xbox, or the Surface computers. But the main software, the 61% of Microsoft patents are relating to the software patents. And if you look at the breakdown of Microsoft patents, you can see that majority of the patents are found in areas which are important to them, like operating system, artificial intelligence, data securities, and also industrial design. So this is the breakdown of their patents. So in terms of country of protection, as we all hear just now, patents are jurisdictional, right? So Microsoft filed most of their patents in the country of origin, America, followed by China and Europe. Now, this is where Microsoft patents are being protected. And the trend, right? We can see that Microsoft has been filing more and more patents from day one to now, right? You can see that in year 2017, it filed 12,000 patents, and the number is on the rise, right? So as of 2019, as I mentioned, it has 54,000 patents which are granted and 34,000 applications. Okay, so I would like to look at the strategy, Microsoft patent strategy from the angle of the patent pyramid. The function, but from the angle of patent functions. And if you look at the patent strategy, you can break patent strategy into 5 levels. The first level is the most basic levels that everybody needs. If you have your new innovation, you need to own it. You need to have a defensive role to create a barrier of entry and IP more over your idea. So this is the first basic function. If you don't want to take action, you still need to own the idea, then you need to file a patent as a defensive tool. Second level of function is you can take action if there's any infringement. If people were to step into your area, you take action. The third level is you can use IP to collect royalties, profit center. Fourth level is you can use IP to increase your business value to get more customers. And final function of value is to own a piece of the future. You file a patent to own the future, meaning if the world were to go to that area and you have some patent in place, in the future, you will have a very secure position. We would like to see how Microsoft uses patent in these 5 areas of function. Okay, so this is how we want to approach the Microsoft patent strategies topics today. Okay, first, we talk about the defensive function. defensive function, defensive and offensive function. For that, we can look at the most established product by Microsoft, the Microsoft Office and the Windows, right? This series of products, they are covered by more than 1,700 active patents. It covers a lot of areas, right? So we want to look at one case study, what happened, right, in this case. Okay, so I think I would like to share with you, there's one case involving Microsoft and Apple way back in 1988 when Apple first came up with this graphical user interface, or GUI, as of that we know of today, right? This novel idea of controlling the operation of your computer by using a mouse and by pointing at the objects and the menu using the mouse to give instruction to the computer was something new way back in 1998. It was actually invented by Apple Computer by Steve Jobs. And at that time, Microsoft was engaged by Apple to do programming on productivity software, word processing, spreadsheet for Apple Computer. And when Bill Gates saw this graphical user interface concept, he was attracted. He fell in love with that idea, right? It's a very neat way of operating a computer. He wanted to license from Apple, but Apple refused. Apple wants to keep everything closed, a closed system. So what happened here is Microsoft saw the idea and they came up with Windows 1.0. So the Windows 1.0 used that GUI system. And Apple threatened to sue because that idea was actually learned from that GUI idea was learned or copied from Apple, right? And because of the working relationship, so both parties agreed to sign a licensing agreement. And but this licensing agreement was drafted by Microsoft in a way that this license will extend to the future Microsoft product. So there was some hidden clauses that Microsoft took advantage of, and Microsoft came up with Windows 1.0 and with the enhanced feature of the design. So Apple was, furious. Apple took action against Microsoft, suing Microsoft for copying the idea. And at that time, this GUI was not protected by any patent. Microsoft intend to use copyright to sue. Sorry, Apple intend to use copyright to sue Microsoft for copying the idea. And the judge said that, okay, this GUI is a concept, is a technological solution, right? So you cannot copyright a technological solution. Therefore, because that concept of GUI using the mouse to point and to command the menu was not protected, therefore Apple cannot sue Microsoft for infringing, for copying the idea. And there was also some licensing terms that allowed them to use some of the features. So as a result, the action against Microsoft failed. So this is an example of when you have an idea, a good idea, but you don't protect it, you don't build economic moat, and the GUI becomes something that other competitor can copy, right? So this is the lesson learned, that you have a good idea, you have to have certain protection so that you can own the idea. And Microsoft learned from that lesson, and Microsoft, when Microsoft come up with an improved user interface, like what they have now. If you open up your Office, you will see there are certain top level functionality and second level functionality control associated with the top level. They are presented together in groups, logical groups, right? And you can use, you can switch from one group to another group by clicking on different top level functionality tab. That concept, that idea was actually patented by Microsoft. Microsoft filed a patent to own that idea. And subsequently, they also filed design for the graphical user face of that display screen of the GUI, the graphical user interface. So this idea of grouping functionality under certain heading was protected by both patents and design. And when competitors came in to copy the idea, Corel came in. Microsoft took action against Corel for infringing the patents and the design, right? And the patents, the graphical user interface, the menus, the toolbars used in the WorkPerfect. Corel was the owner of WorkPerfect with software. So action was taken, and the jury and the court held that Corel has willfully infringed the design pattern and the utility pattern, and damages was awarded against Corel. So from here you can see, right? So how you can own your idea defensively, you can take action if competitor copy your core ideas. And thirdly, as a profit center, Microsoft also uses patent uh, uh, to make money from licensing of the patents. Microsoft was not very successful in the smartphone or the mobile computing because Android becomes the dominant operating system. But Microsoft owned more than 300 families patents. Many of those patents are standard essential patents that are necessary to build a Android handphone. So with what Microsoft did is Microsoft has its own, Windows has its own mobile operating system, but it wasn't making much money. But Microsoft made more money from licensing patents to the Android phone than the Windows operating system for mobile phone, right? So as you can see from the chart, Microsoft, collect $5 to $15 per Android phone sold by those phone maker using the 300 patents family that you need in order to build a more Android phone from all the manufacturer. And of course, Microsoft also took action against some delinquent mobile manufacturers that do not pay them royalties. Okay, and then the fourth level that I want to talk about is integrated role. Patents can play an integrated role, meaning you can use IP patents to enhance your business, get in more business. And this can be seen in the case of Microsoft cloud computing as well. Microsoft filed many patents, 11,000 patents relating to cloud computing, right? So if you look at cloud computing, it is something relatively new, started by Amazon Web Services, AWS in 2006. It makes money by renting its excess storage capacity to host others people's data, right? So Microsoft saw the opportunity, came in 2010, and now Microsoft is the second largest market player in terms of taking up 22%, just 10% behind Amazon. And what happened in this case is, what is the competitive advantage of Microsoft here? Microsoft has a lot of patents relating to cloud computing. It has 11,000 compared to Amazon, only about 1,300, and Google 3,500. So how does Amazon monetize this patent? What Microsoft does in this case is it came up with something called Azure IP advantage. Using this Azure IP advantage, it opens up the 11,000 patents to all the Azure users. So with that 11,000 patent, it creates a defensive barrier for its Azure customer from potential litigation from other players, right? So this is a comprehensive protections against intellectual property hazard. This patent box, is something that attracts people to move to Azure, because if you were to use Azure to host your data and to operate your business online, you don't have to worry so much about others people's patent because you're already protected there. And finally, last but not the least, we would like to look at the role of how Microsoft use patent to protect the future, right? As we all know, AI is another game changer. It's going to change our life. The future is already here, right? When we see ChatGPT can do so many things. So what we want to explore how Microsoft uses patent to protect the future by filing patents on AI-related invention. So what Microsoft does in this case of AI is it has its own R&D on AI. It also took a strategic stake in OpenAI, and it granted OpenAI access to its database and to train its generative pre-trained transformer GPT model. So this is a strategic alliance within OpenAI and Microsoft. And in December 2022, Microsoft bought 49% of OpenAI with $10 billion. Right? So with that, Microsoft incorporated this large language model, OpenAI large language model, into its GitHub platform to automate coding, into its Bing search engine so that people can use LLM to search result and you get a result in a more direct way, and also to integrate them into its Office and the Windows software, right, to automate certain functions. And Microsoft has a two-pronged strategy when it comes to AI. On one hand, it worked closely with OpenAI. It invested money in OpenAI, share data with OpenAI. On the other hand, it also developed its own IP to compete with OpenAI. So this is a parallel back strategy, right? Microsoft is a bit yasu. It doesn't want to lose, right? It will take stake in a competitor, and it was also coming up with its own IP patents. And in terms of number of patents filed by Microsoft, you can see that Microsoft owns the most patents in AI compared to other competitors in the market like IBM, Samsung, Qualcomm, Google. Microsoft with 1,800 patents is actually the leader in the AI-related patent filing. So today we have gone into the Microsoft AI patents, and we extracted some of the pioneering patents and we condensed it into a handbook. If you're interested, you can take a look, you can read. These are very technical patents relating to AI. And today, in the remaining 10 minutes I have, I probably will share some of the patents with you. But if you're interested in how these patents work, how AI software patents are being drafted, you can go deep into the patent themselves. Okay, the first patents that I would like to share with you is about automated file attachment based on user intent, right? So you can use this into Outlook. In Outlook, you can use in other applications in the Microsoft ecosystem. So what this AI does is it attach file based on the user intent, right? So what this technology can do is you can use AI to understand the user intent, and this system can offer a list of relevant files for potential attachment, and the user can choose which file to attach. Instead of searching your own file, the AI learn about your intent and offer you a list of files to be attached. And this AI uses different models, like the n-gram models. Those of you who are very technical, you probably know what is n-gram models. You can predict the next word that you want to use in the series, the intent model and embedding model. These are the AI model that they put together to come up with a prediction of the user's intent. So this is the patent, relevant patent filed by Microsoft in 2022. It is still pending a pending run, but this software, this patent describe how you can use the intent model, which is uses a combination of embedding model, n-gram model, limited seed queries to predict the intent of the user of what files they want to attach. So you probably want to look at the claim of a patent, right? So I believe many of you who have filed patent understand the significance of a claim. A claim is a combination of element that if you claim and the claim is granted, this combination of element will belong to the patentee, right? If anyone were to use this combination of element, they will be infringing the patent. So this is how a patents work. So this patent's claim reads, right, is a method, right? And this methods require when this method receive the input from the author writing a mail, and this system will have a trained intent model. The trained intent model learns about your intention from the text input that you put in, and with that they create a prompt and a list of document will be extracted and presented to the user, and it will be ranked according to its relevance, and the user select which entity or which file to be attached, and the attachment can be sent out, right? This is the claim, the combination claim by Microsoft. So what is if you want to read more about this trained intent model, the algorithm, you can go deep into the patent document itself. The second patent that I'd like to also share with you, right, is about the auto file editing. Auto file editing learns from the past file editing experience to suggest the necessary edit when you work on a new file, right? So this requires an AI engine called a pattern completion engine, which is powered by a machine trained model, which is based on the revision history of the user, right? So this is a very technical, but this is simply said is like based on your past editing experience or behavior, the system can learn. There is a machine learning that learn your revision history, and they can come up with a suggest what are to be edited to you, right? When you work on a file. And this has very wide applications on Microsoft Windows, Microsoft 65. So if you want to learn about this pattern, this is you can go to this pattern which was filed also in 2022. It described how this pattern completion engine learns about the behavior of a user, and it creates edit information. And this pattern completion engine uses machine-trained auto-regressive text completion model, right? That is based on the revision history information. And all this edit information can be presented to the user, and for the user to do the editing, right? I know I'm generalizing a lot of things because it's more complicated than that. But you can read the claims also, right? Yeah. So what it does is, yeah, when you receive an input message describing the objective of the user and also the document, the text that you want to edit, and they will use that information to the pattern completion engine, and which is trained by a machine trained text completion model. And with that, the AI will suggest edit information, and with this edit information, you can accept and do the editing using AI. So this combination of steps using certain AI model is claimed and protected by Microsoft. So in the future, if anyone wants to use this flow to do automated editing of your document, then you'll be infringing potentially on the patent. But the model is there, is existing, the pattern completion engine, they are all there. But the first to apply this into a workflow to produce the result of automated addition of your files will be the owner of that if you file a patent for this flow of steps, combination of steps. The third patterns that I would like to share with you is using AI to generate software help documentation, right? Because every time you do any amendment or any upgrades on your software, you need to manually upgrade your help documentation. And it's very time consuming and expensive to do that. So what Microsoft has done is using an AI approach to analyze the user data and the action path and come up with using AI to generate the help document. So this is the patent filed by Microsoft again in 2022. 2022 is the AI year, right? A lot of patents filed by Microsoft are related to AI related application. So if you look at this abstract, you can see that what the system does is you study the telemetric data of multiple users of the application, how they work on the application. Multiple users, you study that telemetric data. And from the telemetric data, you establish the action path, right? What action that all these users will do for this application. And from this action path, you come up with action label. Every path has a label, right? With this path and label, you provide to the machine learning model, it will generate a help document for you to, instead of manually write, humanly follow the path and label, the software, the computer, the AI, the large language model will do it for you. And this is, again, the claim, right? Yeah, so you study the telemetrics data of multiple users of the application to determine the action path. From the action path, you have certain AI to extract the label. From the label, use the machine learning model to generate the document, to automatically create the documentation as help model. So this is the third pattern that we'd like to share. And I think if you read those patterns, there's a lot of description on the algorithm, the steps used to identify the action path, to come up with the action label. But these are all for the trained AI engineer. So as a layman, I can only share generally, the steps. And the fourth pattern that I would like to share is on-device AI processing pattern, meaning what Microsoft has done is they found a pattern on how you can import AI model into your device, into your smartphone through internet web browser. So you don't have to do calculation on a server, right? If you were to do calculation on the server, you require a lot of bandwidth, right? A very there will be latency problem. You need to have a lot of bandwidth consumption. So they come up with a way where those AI model can be extracted to your device through web browser, and this model based on your queries can create a pipeline that do calculation and come up and generating with insights, and they can also visually present the result on your device. So this is the way they want to make AI more faster, and also to protect your personal data. So this is the pattern also filed in June 2022 about how your device can go through internet, connect, you can have if you want to do something, your data segment, your data input will be broken down to data feature, and which will be processed by the AI module. And this AI module joined together will become a pipeline to process those data, and they come up with an insight for you to follow, right? So this is protected by this particular claim. And as you can see, it is a combination of steps, right? That is patented, and if in the future, right, if AI modules and pipeline can be downloaded to your own device, to your phone via web browser, and you can put in your request, and all these AI model can process your request and come up with an insight or an answer. That process will be covered by this patent. Last but not the least, very quickly, is a personalized digital AI assistant, also found in the Windows product. What this personalized digital assistant does is you can fasten that. The problem with generic AI digital assistant is it takes too long for them to understand your context, and for them to come up with a direct answer. So they will ask you a lot of questions, and that will waste a lot of time. So what this digitalized, personalized digital AI is, they can speed up the conversation by understanding your context, and including the past interaction, the timing of the message, etc. And it can anticipate your direction of the conversation and come up with the most fitting response. And this pattern was covered, only filed recently in October 2023, and only published February the 1st. And this one, this digitalized, personalized digital assistant enable you to come up with a more accurate response. It doesn't have to ask you many answers, because it will, based on your contextual features, predict the kind of response that you would want to do. Yeah, and then it will come up with a dialogue and it will answer to you. So with that, I have used up my time, and I will probably pass the floor back to Jai. But we're going to continue, right, with our next session of P2P, looking at 3M, which is a very, very innovative company, come up with a lot of revolutionary products that change our life. So if you are interested, if you find that this sharing is useful, you can scan and also join in our next session.